Join us for a review of the Mercedes GLA 45 AMG. Let's go. The new GLA generation is definitely wider than before. It's stronger in general, even from the base version. It looks more SUV-ish, before more in the crossover direction. And here the 45 and also the 35 version, they have here the vertical fins, a wide grille, this upside down grille with the bigger part and the lower part, Panamericana style. Lower part in here with stronger bumpers. 4.41 meters, 14'5" or 174 inches is the length of the Mercedes GLA. 22 centimeters or 9 inches shorter than the GLB, for example. And here in the AMG versions, they directly start with 19-inch wheels for the 35 and the 45. 20-inch wheels is standard here for the 45S, the top sports trim, and then optional 21-inch, also in the black style available. Still here with the crossover cladding, although we have the AMG model. They wanted to keep it SUV looking, definitely. Here at the rear, the tail lamps more in the horizontal style. Then the AMG gets a special exhaust in the lower part, but wait a minute. Autogefuhl fake exhaust police, because these are just beauty tips. The GLA AMG models come with a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbo petrol engine. This is the top horsepower spec right here in the 45S with 412 horsepower. Wow, 412 horsepower from a 2-liter engine. 500 newton meters of torque. 4.3 seconds is the actuation figure, and 0.1 seconds slower with 387 horsepower in the normal 45 model, or in the 35 model with 306 horsepower, 400 newton meters, 5.1 seconds. Cockpit here with a special AMG steering wheel, flat bottom. Then you have special gauges here, left and right, for picking driving modes, for example. Soon showing you more of that. Cruise control here on the left side, left thumb control of the left screen, right thumb control of the other screen. Usually a GLA would come with 7-inch screen left and right, and then optional a bigger one on the right, 10.25 inch, and then this is the top setup, 10.25 inch on both sides, but in most markets 35 and the 45 models here already come with this more elaborated setup. In Germany it's like this, in most markets it will also be the same. As for the seating choices, you start with the base sport seat, which is not the one you can see here. The base sport seat is not that extreme, so to say. And it starts also with Dynamica microfiber on the inside and Article letterhead on the outside. So the base sport seat is the one to go for. Then option, you can have this different form. This is the super sport seat. It has more bolstering, is slimmer, less bolstering at all. From the volume, but more bolstering than to the outside than from the frame. And this is also the optional animal skin option. So both is actually a bad choice. This seat is less comfortable than the base sport seat. And also, of course, here you sweat more in summer and it's cold in winter times. and you support a cruel industry. But they have a lot of choices here in the compact models by Mercedes to go animal-free as well. So that's a very good offer they have overall. And the base, almost all AMG models besides S-Class and E-Class 63, and S-Coupe 63, but all others, I think, they have the standard Dynamica microfiber inside, Artico leatherette outside, and that's really a very good setup. Here, then again, very stiff as for the seat here. However, the seating position is still very high in this GLA. With this new generation, really higher than in the previous generation. And you sit also about 14 centimeters, 5 inches higher than in the Mercedes A-Class, for example. So it's really way higher than the Mercedes A-Class, and thus also more comfortable again, minus the Super Sport seat. Head clearance here, there's no panoramic roof in this vehicle, in this very one. There is one available. One is A6, 6.1, still some headroom left, no problem. Interior overview, talked about the screen sizes already, but it's a very clean layout. Then big turbine vents design, but with a lot of black paint and lacquer all over the place. Here there's a nice insert here with the bright aluminum, and then again leatherette cover here on top of the dashboard, the Autogefuhl material, yellow contrast in this case, but you can also get other ones. Then the steering wheel, once again, good grip, good size, but yeah, a little bit overloaded definitely. And you can see here there's a volume control right there. It's good with the metal, like kind of noiling, galvanized style. Picking up the phone, right thumb, then here you can control the right screen, but also with touch. Left screen is no touch, but then the left thumb, for example, in this case my right thumb, can control this here, and that's here for the adaptive cruise control. So when I turn on the engine, then we see, for example, also that there are the driving modes here at the steering wheel, Sports Plus, Plus, and so on, race mode. So, and this is really helpful because then you don't have to search here or lower down there. You can directly pick it here. And on the left side, you can then switch actually what you want to have. AMG driving dynamics. This also changes some parameters of the vehicle or starts off on and off. And then you can click here through the menu, for example, if you want to control the suspension, stiffness, exhaust note, for example. Well, not sure if you would do so much with that while driving, but the right one here is definitely a good idea. Here we can see the CarPlay integration, not all over the screen, but I think wide enough. The optional Burmester sound system here is actually pretty cool. I mean, almost the best one in a compact vehicle, I think. There are 3 different options for the Mercedes compact vehicles, and even the base one sounds already good. The mid one sounds even better, and this one here, wow. I mean, I think they have the best sound system at the moment for compact vehicles, so heads off. And the extra prices are also still okay comparing to what other extra prices you have here in this vehicle. You go back to the normal Mercedes menu right here, then you have a main home screen like this. Actually, quite good overview. GPS looks like this. You can also switch to a 3D view, for example. Here you can put north up, then this would be the more 3-dimensional view. We also have these visualizations, for example, of the Mercedes Museum. And here on the left side you can pick the classic gauges, but also then special for the AMG, these Super Sport gauges. So they are a little bit more, let's say, racetrack oriented. You can see when I turn on the engine, I'm turning on the engine so often today. The RPMs go like this, but then you can see oil temperature, for example, and here the speed will go from left to right, strangely, but you also have normal digital speed right there. In the rear, you can see here instead of the doors, also with a soft touch leatherette, so that's a good build quality, definitely. Also reasonable door pockets once again, and the doors open also quite wide to install some child seats, for example. Then you can see with these optional performance seats, you have a slim seat, so that might have an advantage that you have a little bit more legroom in the rear. And also this seating bench is a nice option, is actually movable. Once again, the same account for how you sit higher than in an A-Class is also the number where you can move the seat here in the rear. It's 14 centimeters or 5.5 inches. Let's just try that. So here we go inside, easy entry and a lot of legroom left. So this is a good package overall. It's not a long vehicle, but has a lot of space on the interior. Headroom also works here for tall Ls in the rear. 435 to 1430 liters is the capacity, a little bit more than in the previous generation. And you also have a good opening right here, square dimensions here at the side. Also have simple luggage already inside right there. And it also fits here in a vertical way, but just barely. Let's just test it here when we close the hatch once again. I hope this will work. Yeah. Welcome to Thomas's Driving Lounge, active driving lounge with the AMG version of the GLA here in the 45S version. And let's put to Sports Plus mode here and let's floor it out. So steering wheel here, not too progressive. I really have to steer a lot still, but a good feedback here in the Sport Plus mode. Nice sound, so sound-wise, not missing more cylinders. And the throttle input is so direct, wow. So there's no, I mean, we're going uphill here, you know? It doesn't feel like we're going uphill. Whoa, nice. Also some blubbering sound from the exhaust. This is really something to enjoy right here. And the car is keeping really upright. The road is very, very good here. So I also have no problem as, you know, for suspension would be too stiff, but I'm telling you, that the depth of suspension is really stiff, especially in the sports mode, and the shifting pedals are so crisp to use. Wow. Here just now, like accelerating straight, if I would do like here 40 kilometers to, let's see, that's 100, wow, cool. Very good performance here as for the acceleration, and especially in a Sports Plus mode here, I mean, there's even a race mode that would be even more extreme. It's dry road, so I can actually do that, but usually it's just, you know, meant for closed circuits. Here also pretty silent as for the noise insulation at the 100 kilometers or 60 miles an hour. And this car is so stable on the road. Although it's not a big car, but here in the AMG version, it feels like it will have a bigger stance on the road because suspension is stiff. The stiffness, you know, technology behind it also, that they reworked the whole car and added some stability bars and so on. This, you really feel that this car feels really stiff, I can tell you that. When the corner is a little bit tighter than expected, no problem. And we are still in the SUV, and it really feels like a pure sports car, although this is a small SUV. Wow. So, I mean, I could imagine driving the Nürburgring Nordschleife with this one, no problem at all. And now to our conclusion for today with the GLA 45S AMG. Smells like clutch spirit. Well, so we had a sporty driving here today, no doubt about that. First of all, exterior, the new GLA has a stronger stance on the road. It's more SUV-ish. I really liked it. And also on the interior, when you sit there, you have more comfort because you have this more grown-up SUV feeling than it was more crossover-ish than before. So it sets itself a little bit more apart from the Mercedes A-Class, but of course they share every other thing and also the engines and so on and so on. The interior build quality is actually quite nice, and they have a lot of choice of non-animal seating. Full leatherette seats, even cooled leatherette seats. This is really cool in this black-white scheme, for example. And of course the AMG versions here, they come with the microfiber Artico mix. That's a very, very good choice they have there to offer. You can even get some microfiber at the steering wheel if you like it. I would also recommend to go for that. If you go for the 35 or the 45, it's of course a price issue. The 35 will be the best price performance then for the performance model. It's still a super expensive vehicle. I mean, the initial GLA car we had, the 250, was already at 70,000 euros. This one, of course, then even more expensive. So easily more than double the entry price. This you have to bear in mind, is an extremely expensive vehicle, even though you might not expect it. So I think overall, and especially as a 45S, it's really too expensive. That's one of the flaws definitely. And the AMG model, you have to know that. So the the sports models with BMW and Audi, for example, they try to a little bit more master the compromise of sportiness and comfort, especially at Audi. At BMW, just the M models are really, really very sporty and super stiff. Here, the AMG models, even the less tuned AMG models here, the 35 in the compact segment or the 53 in the bigger segments, all AMG models with Mercedes are really, really stiff, and there's a big gap between the normal models and the AMG models. So rather not a compromise of sportiness and comfort, just sportiness. So does it still make sense to put it in a GLA? Yeah, I mean, you still have this upright seating position, and it's really astonishing by making the car even stiffer, by making this stiff suspension, that you can drive this like a pure sports car, although it's a small SUV. So very impressive also about the horsepower output from this very small engine. Impressive, yes. Does it really make sense to get more than 400 horsepower out of 2 liters of displacement? Yeah, I think that's rather doubtful. It works, yes. How long? I honestly don't know. And, I'm more a fan of putting a little bit less horsepower in, a little bit more displacement. But maybe that's just me. Whatever, we had a lot of fun here today with the 45 model, although it's definitely, top of, top spec. So I think more people might, fancy the 45 version, watch this review, but then end up buying the 35 version, which I also recommend to go for you, actually for today, or just be happy with normal 250 GLA. As for the fuel consumption, you can drive it with similar fuel economy like with the normal 2-liter 4-cylinder, so about like 8 liters on 1 kilometers, 29 mpg US, 35 mpg UK, which is already not that good. But then again, this small engine has like such a wide span of fuel consumption, so if we really floor it out like we did it here, then you can easily reach some 13, 14 liters on 1 kilometer, so less than 20 mpg. And that's, of course, that really hurts. That's also the thing about these very, very small engines. So, a lot of impressions here for you today. What do you think about the GLA 45? Please also tune into our normal Mercedes GLA version, because maybe, again, you have a lot of fun watching this, but end up buying the GLA 250, and so you can also enjoy this review. We'll be linked in the video description and pinned comment. Please subscribe to our channel if you haven't done so far. And thank you so much for all our long-term subscribers. I know you love us, we love you. So that's a mutual agreement. And see you next time.